Good day, Africa, and welcome once again to AU Talks. And today on AU Talks, we will be discussing African youth in focus. And I have two wonderful young people of our continent, one UK-based, one Ghanaian-based, and we'll be discussing the African continent, some few issues, what they think of the African's development. And you don't forget that you can join the discussion via our social media platforms, AAU on Facebook and AAU_67 on Twitter. We'll go for a short break, and when I return, I will let you know who my creative, dynamic African guests are on the show.
My name is Dr. Violet Makuku, a quality assurance expert with the Association of African Universities. The Association of African Universities is here with the African Quality Rating Mechanism, internal institutional evaluation tool that can help you improve the quality of higher education, whether it is in teaching and learning, in ICT, in infrastructure, financial management, university management, and all the other aspects whose quality should be monitored in the university. Kindly follow the provided links for you to understand more about the African Quality Rating Mechanism, institutional evaluation process, and also to get hold of the form that you can use to express interest. AAU, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Welcome from that short break, and this is still AU Talks. We are discussing the African youth and what they think about Africa's development. And like I told you, I have two wonderful guests in the studio who are young people, and they are going to help me do the discussion. And so the first is a CEO of DNA Social Services and a social worker as well, and she goes by the name Danielle Atakora. Danielle, welcome to AU Talks.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Today.
Great. How long have you been in Ghana?
I've been here for 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
Yep.
And you're enjoying everything here?
Yes, I'm enjoying it.
Certainly, I know it's not your first time.
No,
yeah.
I come every year to Ghana, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then our second guest also goes by the name Joseph Atta, and he is also a creative entrepreneur. It's the first time I'm hearing that, and he will throw more light on that as well. And he is also with DNA Social Services. Joseph, welcome to AE Talks.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Great. And so today's show is going to be interesting because I have two young dynamic Africans, and the interesting thing is that you grew up in UK.
Yep.
And then you are based in Ghana,
Yeah.
Africa. And so we will be kind of having a cross-cutting discussion to know what happens to growing up in UK, and what happens to growing up in Ghana, and what are the opportunities available to both settings, and what you think Africa's development must be. But before we start, what is the DNA services? What do you do as the DNA services?
Okay, so DNA Social Service is an NGO, a non-profit organization based in Ghana.
Okay.
So DNA stands for Develop, Nurture, Advance. So as an NGO, we focus on responding to social problems in society. So social problems could involve anything under education, health, youth development, anything under that. So what we do is we assess, we do research, and then we intervene.
Okay.
So for example, currently our NGO, we are working with Jamestown, and we're doing some women projects with the young ladies there who are not in school.
Okay.
And we're also working with the young boys, investing into their sports careers. So those are some examples of what our NGO are doing at the moment.
Okay, and you are the CEO of, how does it feel to be a young person handling such an institution?
It feels good because I'm young, and being a CEO of such an NGO, we're a startup, so we're just starting off.
Okay.
But it's a good feeling because I'm also empowering other young people to start up things that they have a vision for. Okay. So it's good. It feels good, yeah. That's
fine. And let me get you, Joseph. You are the creative entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So what do you do under DNA Services?
Okay. I handle the media side aspect. Yeah. And then, as she already said, what DNA, what we do. If someone is in a problem in a poor society, and then we need help from the government, I can't just go there and then talk to them. I need to cover something and then prove to them what's happening there. So that's my power I have to talk to them and also show them what I covered to prove to them what's really happening to them. So I really take care of the media side, shooting, and then proving it to anyone that will be getting help from.
More infographics.
Yes.
Presenting the stories.
Presenting the story.
Yes,
and then pictures. We sometimes add the musics too, because sometimes it's very difficult to just let someone help you. You need when someone watch the video and then even the music attached to it, they feel it, and then they can already see the reason why you're in, and then they'll just help you. So I really take care of that side.
Aspect.
Yeah, and then I'm also a director there. When she's not around, I take care of everything. Yeah,
okay.
Yes.
That's amazing. So how did you come up with this concept? Who was it? Daddy's concept? Was it somebody's concept that you took over, or you sat down out of social research, you found out these are the problems, and then you came up with such an intervention?
I think as a social worker in the UK, so as a social worker in the UK, my duty and my role as a social worker is to safeguard vulnerable children, adults and elderly people. So in that position, working in social services in the UK, being African and being Ghanaian, coming to Ghana and seeing certain systems not in place, I felt that creating that NGO with the same similar role that I do in the UK would benefit my country. So that's the main reason why I started that NGO in the first place. Okay. So kind of taking what I do in the UK and doing it here, basically.
Okay. So for how long have you been operating in Ghana?
I would say a year, going up to a year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically you'll be how many months?
Well, in Ghana?
Yes.
Well, the NGO has been operating for a year.
A year now?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the what are the day-to-day activities? What are some of the interventions that you've been able to come up with?
Okay, so, you know, training young girls, and we have different professionals coming through. Okay. So the young girls, we have people in the fashion industry, people in the health industry, working with girls who want to pursue in those certain sectors. We have a sports program that we're doing with the young boys in different communities. So Jamestown being one of those communities. The sports project is basically focusing on boys who are talented in football, or boxing, any sort of sport. So working on their skills. So those are some of the programs that we are doing currently. Okay. Yeah.
So Joseph, aside the creative aspect, what else do you do also?
Okay, aside from that one, I just I teach in church. Okay. Yeah, I do that, but I don't attach that to my first. It's something that I do aside from my creative side. Yeah.
Things that you do.
Yes, I sing in church. I preach. I teach.
Okay.
Too, yeah.
So that is your passion.
That's my passion, but I have passion for both.
For both.
For both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me go back to how was growing up for you, because we want to build up that kind of comparative study to find out how you were born in UK, and then he is in Ghana. So how was growing up for you? And I'll come back to you also. How was growing up for you? Because we want to benchmark how we're able to come up with interventions, how we're able to come up with ideas, and we nurture and culture them as well. So how was growing up for you?
Okay, being born in the UK, I would say growing up was quite smooth because everything just kind of flowed. Okay. So, you know, when I was young, I went to primary school. Primary school, I got all the support from my teachers, parents. After primary school, the primary school then helped me to get into secondary school. All the support and systems were in place for me to get into secondary school. After secondary school, I then went to college. We don't pay, in the UK, we don't pay for any sort of, for primary school, secondary school, and college, we don't pay for that. Then university, when I was going to university, in the UK, every student gets a loan. So if you can't afford your fees, we get a loan. So you get a loan to go to school. The loan basically pays for your course, pays for anything to do with your course. So for example, if you're creative and you need to buy cameras or anything to do with your course, they will provide that money for you.
The full tuition?
The full fees, yeah, everything. So university was really good for me because it was a 3-year course. And as part of my course, I had to travel and do placements. So that involved transportation and stuff like that. But all the fees for that was provided for. So I didn't need to worry about anything to do with transportation. Even accommodation was paid for. Okay. So everything was covered. So me growing up in UK was quite smooth in terms of education.
And that intervention is for every citizen?
It is for every citizen.
Okay.
However, before you're entitled to that, you get assessed. So they will assess your household income, assess your qualifications, and with that assessment, from that's where they will then give you the loan or the fees to provide.
Okay. Yeah. So it means that if your parents are well-to-do or they have some level of income, you wouldn't be entitled to.
Exactly. So if you come from a household where your parents make enough money to pay for your fees, you wouldn't be entitled to get the loan because you have enough money to pay. So yeah, that assessment basically determines whether you would get your fees paid for.
Okay. So if we were born in Ghana and then you went through the same system, how would it have been different for you?
If I was born in Ghana?
Yes.
Well, from my knowledge, I know in Ghana you have to pay your own fees for university. So that would have been a bit difficult because obviously I don't come from a rich family, so it may have been a bit difficult. Or I would say I would have to get the money myself. I don't have any sort of system helping me. Okay. So I think that would be the difference between me growing up there and here. I would have to look for the money myself.
Okay.
And anything else that comes with it, whether it's food, transportation, I'm doing it myself. So that would have been a bit more difficult, I would say.
Yes, Joseph, let me come to you. How was growing up for you as a Ghanaian child? How was it? How was the experience? How was the feeling?
Okay. Growing up here in Ghana wasn't easy for me. Yeah. From parents' side to me. Because if, like me, I didn't came up from a rich family. Okay. Yes. My family are not rich. So growing up wasn't easy at all for me. And then going to school, when I completed GHS, my family told me to work and then get money to the SHS. Okay. So that is also going to be a problem. I went on the street and then searched for work. Okay. But when I went out there, no one wanted to give me the job because they were like, you are young. You
don't have any experience,
you don't have any experience, and then we can't give you the job too. So I have to sell, because selling outside, no one can come then question you. Yes,
so no what were you selling?
Yes, I was selling credits.
Okay.
Like airtimes. Yeah, this airtimes, Tigo, Airtel, and I was selling it. So it wasn't really going on well. So I stopped, and then I was a trotro mate. Okay. Yeah, for a time. I was a mate for a time. That one also wasn't helping. So I have to stop and then sell shirts and then trousers at Kantamanto. Kantamanto. Yes. Okay. So it wasn't easy for me growing up because my parents told me to do that job and then get money.
Okay. So right after that you went to SHS?
Yes, right after that I went to SHS. But when I went to SHS, the money I got was only for the school fees. Okay. You see, for only the fees, but food didn't come, and then every day in and out, books and other things, and then school uniform. Sometimes when you go inside, you have to buy books and then your school uniform and then your tracksuit, and then you have to buy even your sandals
and everything.
Yes, you have to buy all that, but I didn't get the money for that. I just got the school fees. So it was really hell for me. So when I was in school, I just got the school uniform. I didn't get other things like sandals and then tracksuit. I didn't get them. Okay. So it wasn't easy for me. I was really facing the hustle. Like it wasn't really easy. I was really facing it.
So how was school for you? Did it affect your academic life?
Yes, it really affected. It really affected because when I was in SHS, I didn't really go to class. I didn't go class because I don't have the books. And then I can't disturb someone. Can you please give me your book? Sometimes I do it, but I feel like the person also wants to use the book. So okay, then let me not take it at all. And then that time I didn't have phone to also learn on Google. Okay. But there was a point I wanted to go to the internet cafe and then learn there rather. But sometimes I go there and then I don't find anything there. Like sometimes when you type what is matter, Google will give you something like something big. And then
you know, at that time you didn't know how to search for information online.
Yes, I didn't even know. And then sometimes when I search, they will just bring some images that will even scare me for me to just shut down the computer. So it wasn't easy for me, so I didn't stay in class. I spent my whole time in a drama club because I'm good in acting, good in singing, cultural dance. I play drums, I dance too. So I spent my whole life in the art institute.
So can you say that that experience shaped your thinking, shaped your life, shaped your profession as well?
Yes, I will say that, because what I went through, at first that time I was really hurting, crying, but I think it has really shaped me. Yes, because like of what I've gone through, it has really shaped me, because I spent my whole time in a drama club. Sometimes when you go outside, the teachers will see you and it will be like, you this guy, you don't like coming to class. You always spending time in the drama club. What's wrong? And then you sometimes tell them, oh, I don't have books, and then they'll be like, call your parent, and then they also come and then they'll come and beg, but they won't do anything about it. And then sometimes even when you beg them, okay, we need to buy 5 books, and then they can only afford for 1, and then the 1 won't even help. So it was hell. But when I was in the drama club, it was cool for me, because that one, no books. The books was inside me.
Okay, so you just bring it out.
I just bring it out.
Okay.
The talent was inside me. If you tell me to act, someone can read a book on how to act, but I won't do that. I can act. It was inside me, but like in the classroom, something like history is not in me. I don't know anything. Like if you want me to give you an history of the presidents outside UK, I can't do that. I don't know that. I have to go and buy the book and then learn about that. But in a drama, if you tell me to act like a drunkard, like a madman, I'll do it. I don't have to buy a book and then read that. It's inside. Okay. So that one, I was really cool with that. But in classroom, it was hell. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So Daniel, what do you make of the Ghanaian experience?
From what Joseph is saying, I think the problem that he had was Ghana didn't really have that system that catered to someone as creative as him. Not only that, but those who didn't really have the money for facilities like books and all of that, resources, would have found it difficult. Whereas in the UK, people who, for example, could not afford books or could not afford certain resources to help them through school, there is actually a system whereby they can fill in forms and we can assess your household income and you will be supported by the school for free. Okay. They will buy your books, they will buy anything that you need for school. So I think that support is very important, because like he said, it affected him academically, it affected him intellectually and
mentally.
Mentally as well.
Yeah, because I was really depressed.
Okay.
Yes, so mentally. Sometimes we only focus on the education, so we have to also focus on mental side, because yes, it really affects. Sometimes people just look at you and then they think, oh, you only need money. I can give you the money, but you still be the same as you are. We need to target the mental illness too, because there are people, you give them the money and then they will just go and use it for something different. But sometimes you need to test the mind. If the mind is really stable. Yes, sometimes the mind is really shaky. Yeah, I really suffered from financial problem mentally, because what I was going through was really affecting my...
So you were very young at that time?
Yes, and it was really affecting me. Do you know how it affected me? I couldn't speak. I didn't know how to speak. I couldn't even if me sitting here right now talking to you, I would never do it. I wouldn't even know how to even start how to talk. I was someone who is very quiet. So someone will ask you, what's wrong with you, man? Can't you talk? What's wrong with you? You don't talk.
But
You're always quiet.
Attention to
that aspect. They thought, oh, he's just a quiet person, but they don't know what's inside. I was waiting for someone to just come to me. What's wrong with you? What did mom did? What? But they don't really say that. They will think he's just a quiet person. Oh, this quiet people, you have to be very careful of them. Oh. Be very careful, because them they can kill you easy. That's what. So people don't really come to me, because I didn't like talking. Because I was dying inside. So sometimes when people come, they need to just find what's going on inside before coming outside. That's it. So
that's amazing.
Yes.
But let me come back to you. You didn't finish your submission before he came in.
So I was saying, I think what the problem is, from what he's saying, is the system doesn't really cater to everyone. It doesn't really cater to every personality, every sort of ability. It kind of benefits maybe the rich people or people who look well educated, whereas from where I grew up, whether you are disabled, whether you are creative, the system benefits you in some sort of way. And I think it benefits you through, they do an assessment and can see, okay, you come from this household, okay, you don't have this money, whatever situation you're in, you will be educated no matter what, or you'll be provided with the same facilities. There's equality no matter what. So I think that's what the problem is. The problem is, if you come from a low-income family, you won't get the access to what someone who's rich has. And I think that's the difference and the problem with the African system.
And Danielle, you want to come back and settle in Ghana, and for that matter, in Africa.
Yeah.
Why would you leave all those, I don't want to call it luxury, but then, I mean, the basic necessities are there. You are a social worker back in UK. Why would you want to come back and work in Ghana? You could have done the same thing in the UK.
I think the reason why I want to relocate to Ghana is simply because I feel like there's more gaps here. So like the conversation we're having about the system, in the UK, they already have those systems there, and they have professionals who already cater to those things. So I feel like being a Ghanaian, although I was born in the UK, the reason why I want to come back is because I see a lot of gaps that I believe I can help with. Being a social worker, being educated in the UK, I believe it will help my own people. And not that I don't want to help the UK or help, but they already have people and professionals there. Whereas me being in Ghana, there's a lot of things I can educate people on, or a lot of things I can influence from my experience. So like what we are talking about, certain things that I can bring things that I've adopted there and bring it and implement it here, which is the reason why I started my NGO in Ghana. I could have started it, I could have, you know, established it in UK, but I did it in Ghana because the gaps here are greater than it is there. Okay.
But in terms of financing, how has it been easy for you here?
It hasn't been easy. Most things in terms of finance, I fund myself or just sponsors. But even with that, it's very difficult here. And again, I think it's because of the support or the way systems are. But I'm still working my way through it and just trying to get there.
Okay. Yeah. Viewers, we are still watching AAU Talks, and we are discussing the African youth in focus. And we'll go for a short break, and when we return, I will ask the two of them what they make of Africa's development in the next 60 years. Stay tuned.
Anyone can get an education, but not everyone gets quality education. It's never too late to acquire it. The University of Lusaka, a modern private university located off Ali Kinkata Road in Lusaka, Zambia, offers undergraduate, master's, and PhD degree programs in the School of Business and Management, Law, Economics, Banking and Financial Services, Public Administration, Governance and International Relations, Education, Engineering and the Built Environment, and Health Sciences. Our curriculum is practical and designed to meet the changing needs of employers, business, and society. Because at Unilas, we make students think outside the book. Our driving force is a passion for quality education. We build graduates fit for purpose. Enroll now for January or June intakes. For more information, log on to www.unilas.ac.zm.
Welcome back, and you are still watching AAU Talks, and we are discussing the African youth in focus. I still have Danielle and Joseph in the studio, and we are having a wonderful time. Now, let me go back to Joseph. I'm sure you've never come across some of the youth policies in Ghana.
No.
I'm not sure.
No.
I know you've not also come across the youth policies in Africa.
No.
I'm not too sure. But what do you think of if you are being made a minister tomorrow, if you are being made a CEO of a company tomorrow, how do you want Africa to be, or how do you want Ghana to be?
Oh, that is a nice question. Yeah, I really like what you said. For me, I've been through a lot. And then if I'm a minister tomorrow, or if someone tell me to a president tomorrow, there's bigger things I will change because I've been through it. Okay. So I know how to do it. Let me come to my field, what I do. There are a lot going on in my field. Me being in the media, let me put it this way: when you want to join a media company in Ghana and then you don't have a qualification, they don't treat you as someone who have the qualification. Okay. If they're paying someone, let me say 1,000 Ghana cedis, because you don't have a qualification, they'll just give you like 200 cedis or 100 cedis.
Maybe you may have the expertise to do the same job.
Yes, but they'll just give you that because they're thinking, oh, this guy, we are helping him because he didn't have the qualification, but we just try and then push him in. It's really a big problem. Because sometimes the CEOs in the media don't think of us who don't have the qualification. And then they don't know that they paying us the 200 cedis, 100 cedis is not helping. It's not even helping us to buy big gadgets, big cameras, big laptops to work with. They don't know it's really affecting us. So it's not even helping us to learn more. We are still where we are.
Okay.
And then sometimes people watch music videos, movies, and then they think like, oh, Ghana people, our movie industry is bad, but these are the whole cause of it. Okay,
so you think there should be development, they should have that development in focus?
Yes.
Where they can nurture and groom people?
Yes.
So that whilst you are still there, there could be some scholarship for you to go back to school?
Yes.
And that support system?
Also help.
Okay.
Yes. But there are people also who don't like helping, because if me like this, where I am now, if I see someone is very hardworking, someone is having a talent I won't just watch them for them to always be working with me. Okay. I'll just pay the fees for them to go to the school and then learn more. Because sometimes when you go to the school, it's not the same thing as seeing on YouTube, YouTube, because the teachers, they explain certain things to you. So when you watch on YouTube, you get more idea, and then you just bring something awesome outside.
Okay.
So it's time, like our CEOs, our bosses must learn this and then stop treating like the younger people as always PA. PA. We are helping them. We are I don't know how to. We are considering you because you don't even have qualification. We are just pushing you in.
Okay.
They should stop.
They should rather see you much more in a professional way and groom you, mentor you to be someone.
That is it. That is it.
That's amazing.
That is it. It's really going to help, and then they will see how things will change in a few years coming. Yeah,
that's good. Danielle, what is your future aspiration for Africa or for Ghana?
I have a lot to say, to be honest, but if I have to round it up, I think education is the most important thing, because without being educated, there's no knowledge, and knowledge, there's power. So I think as Africans, if we are educated and know how our country, in order to be a peaceful country, in order to be united, we need to be educated. And education comes with a lot of things. So even with the law, if we are educated on the law and respect the law, we, as a country, we would run smoothly. So I think the reason why, like where I was born, the UK, the reason why it's run differently to Africa or Ghana is because we respect the law. So you tend to see in Africa a lot of people like to bribe a lot, which I don't think that's professional.
Have you experienced that?
A lot, everywhere. Like you can go somewhere and just give someone money and then that's it. Like the law, they don't even think of the law anymore. People break the law. People do all sorts of things because there's no respect. There's no what do you call it? People don't respect basically. But you can never go to the UK and then pay a policeman to let you go, if that makes sense. But in Africa they do that, and I don't think that doesn't make us move forward. If we're not respecting the law, if we're not well educated on how Africa can move forward, then we'll never move forward. Okay. So I think our policies, our laws need to be stricter. People need to respect it and know that as Africans, we need to move forward. You know, and education should be for everybody, whether you are rich, whether you are poor. Everyone should have access to education, because without education, there's no knowledge. Without no knowledge, there's no power. So
but currently in Ghana, let me just give you. Currently in Ghana, we have the basic education is free up to the senior high level now. The government of Ghana now is running the free SHS. I don't know whether you've heard of it.
Yeah, I did, and when I heard of it, I was so happy because that's something that is needed. I think all the young people should have access to education, which is exactly what's being implemented. So that is just a step forward to Africa moving forward, and I think stuff like that needs to continue. Policies need to be implemented like that. So not just with education, there's so many examples I can give. So like, for example, I know what I heard was when you're renting, you have to bring forward 2 years
advance. Your
of money
pay upfront 2 years.
That does not make sense to me, because in the UK we pay monthly for rent. How can you pay 2 years rent if you're not given 2 years salary? That doesn't make sense. That means it's only catering to rich people. So again, I think the system needs to be created in a way whereby everyone is benefiting, not just the rich, not just the middle class. So there are social interventions for...
Yes.
So systems need to be made in a way that caters to everyone. Basically, I think that will create fairness, equality. That's what we need in Africa, equality among everybody.
Joseph, I know you have a lot to say.
Yeah, for me, I have a lot to say. Because I don't know why when we're talking about how we will develop Ghana or Africa, we only target only the government.
Okay.
We only point the government. The government must do this change. The government must do, but there's some, you can change my life and you can help me be where I am.
Okay.
Why do we always point the government? Sometimes we don't always have to.
Okay.
I want to give an example. There's a man here who builds car and all, like he builds car. I don't know if you know the man.
Motors?
Yes.
Okay.
I was thinking, like we the youth, where look at the Uber cars, those small cars. What's the name of the Hyundai Picanto, whatever. Look, people are really buying it. When you go to the harbor, you see a lot of Picanto. If he had done small cars like the Picantos, it can help the youth for them to be using that as an Uber. And then the big cars that we can't afford, he should really put that on standby. So I think we shouldn't only be pointing at the government for them to help, because he can
social
also,
entrepreneurs and people who can support.
yes, they can also help. They should also be pointing at those people. They can help we the youth especially develop.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, a very crucial thing you made mention of is that education. I know you've heard of several instances where we are saying that education is not so practical. Even those who go to school to read or study technical and vocational courses are not so practical. What is your assessment? How is it like in the UK if we are doing that? Because listening to Joseph should have been someone who should have attended a creative school right from the onset, but that seemed not to be the trend here. How is that different in the state, in the UK?
In the UK, so those who don't go to university, they also have other options. So they can do apprenticeships, they can go and do work experience. So that in itself, they're still being educated, but they're doing it in a practical way, which that in itself is also another path to go into employment. So if, for example, you see yourself as a creative, you're not really academic, you don't want to go to university, if you go and do an apprenticeship with a company, you're training with them, and then from that you can go and then be employed. So that is practical. It's not necessarily going to do books. So I think I don't know if I know that people do apprenticeships in Ghana and do work experience. So I think with the UK, there's so many options. It's not just school. You can do so many things in order to go to employment. So because there's so much paths to get into employment, I think that makes it a bit easier. Because if you're not academic, you can go and do work experience with this organization, or you can go apply for apprenticeship with them, because they always want to apprentice people. They always want people to volunteer and do that sort of thing. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So let me take your final submission. Where do you want to see yourself in the next 10 years? Oh,
I want to see myself across the world.
Across the world. Yes. How do you get there?
Oh yes, it's simple. I see it's simple because me being an African, I have more power, and then we have more like talent. So like it's like we have more fire to push out across the world.
How do you do it? You can't sit in Ghana and have power.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like what you were saying. How do I do it? I'll use my talent and my work to get across the world, but not doing it only. I have to get. I have to help people also so that we can be strong and then just push outside.
So in terms of your talent, how are you seeking, or how are you going to develop it? How are you going to expand it? How will you be more creative and be more serviceable, so that those who are outside the continent will see your good works and then take you up?
Yes. Yes, I want to tell you something, another problem that's going on here. When someone is very talented, they don't like showing someone. It's like if I can draw a human, I don't want to show this guy the next person. I want to be the only one who can draw. That one would never take me far. That one would never take me anywhere. But if I'm teaching someone and the person is also teaching, it helps us. It helps us to expand.
So a lot of partnership.
Yes, and collaboration. Yes, and it helps us to expand. In my media, most of us, and then even the people like here filming and all that, they can tell you most of them go on YouTube to go and learn. But have you seen any African guy? Like there are African guys who are on YouTube teaching us on how to do editing or that, but they are few. I've only seen 2 people or 3 people. All of them are like the rest are the foreigners. You see the whites only teaching on how to do this, how to do this. But do you know they're doing that is like it's really making them go far.
Okay.
Yes, because when I watch like on how this white man is teaching me, I subscribe, and then someone here will also subscribe, and then we are making them
richer and richer. Okay.
But why are we not doing the same?
So if I'm getting you, that is what you want to do in the next 10 years?
Yes, I want to do.
Share your knowledge.
Share my knowledge.
In your field.
Yes,
online,
in my field.
people,
Yes, because
amazing.
I believe people really understand. Because sometimes do you know how I find it difficult? When I was learning on YouTube, the whites, they just picture, I can't hear. So sometimes I don't even listen. I just watch on how they do it, and then I'll just do the same, and I'll just do the practice and then just get it. So me getting it now I know my people and I know my level. I can just explain.
Okay.
Even if I can teach in PG, because that's what even helps them to understand. I'll just flow with that, and then it will let them understand very well.
That is a brilliant idea.
Yes.
And I think you need not to discard it, but expand it.
Yes.
Because then you are going to take care of a lot of people in the informal sector or non-formal sector.
Yes.
To gain some skills, and if they can be in school for 3 years, at least when they go online, they would have African content and they develop themselves.
That is it.
And so it's a brilliant idea, and I look forward to seeing more of that.
It will come.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me take your final submission. What should we be expecting from DNA social services in the next 5 years or 10 years?
Okay, so in the next 5 years or 10 years, I do see myself as one of the greatest leaders in Africa.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that...
In which field?
In which field? I would say social field, so social entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So with DNA Social Services, our main focus is to develop Africa. So not just Ghana, Africa. I do see Africa as one of the powerful continents in the whole world.
Exactly.
Normally, when you go places and you mention Africa, they only think of the poor areas, neglected areas, but they don't realize how powerful we are. And I don't even think Africans see how powerful we are. And I think that's because we underestimate our power. We underestimate the influence we can have around the world. So as a social entrepreneur, I want to actually bring that out of Africa, you know, be here and be the change. If I'm not the change, who else will do it? So rather than waiting for someone else to develop Africa, I have to start myself. So that's the main reason why I started my NGO. The NGO to start focusing on communities, poverty, youth, education, health, to start developing each sector holistically. So holistic development, that's the main focus. And just if I start something, everyone else will join, and that's the main thing.
Okay. All right. I want to thank you guys for coming, and it's been amazing sharing your thought and how you want to see Africa develop. And I look forward to seeing your brilliant ideas in some few days or some few years to come. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
So viewers, this has been AAU Talks, and we have been discussing African youth in focus, and it has been extremely wonderful. Young people sharing their ideas, their views, and what they think of Africa. Thanks for watching. My name is Kwesi Sam.